The mountains didn't like visitors. That's what people said about Ridge Hollow, a forgotten pocket of Appalachia where fog clung to the trees like secrets and the sun took longer to rise. And no one in Ridge Hollow was more feared or more ignored than Jacob Whittaker, the man who lived in the cabin above Deadman's Creek. They called him the Hermit. People said he hadn't spoken a word since 1991, when his wife died. Some claimed he buried her with his bare hands. Others swore he still talked to her through the cracked chimney bricks. The only thing everyone agreed on, you did not go near his land. So when 3 children, barefoot, bruised, and half-starved, walked up that rocky hill and knocked on his door. The town braced for the worst. The oldest was Lena, 13. Her little brother Jamie was 9. And the youngest, Maddie, 5 years old, hadn't spoken since the night their house burned down. Their parents had died in that fire. Foster homes didn't last, they ran. But after 2 nights hiding in a deer blind and eating raw oats from an abandoned feeder, Lena did the unthinkable. She led them up Hermit Hill. When they knocked, nothing happened. No footsteps, no lights. Then, a sound. Slow, scraping metal, a lock turning. The door creaked open just enough to reveal a pair of eyes, old, pale, watchful. Lena stepped forward. "We're not here to steal," she said. "We just need a place to sleep for one night, please." Silence. Then, the door opened wider. They stepped into a world frozen in time. Wood stove, lanterns, shelves lined with hand-labeled jars. No TV, no phone, just books, tools, a rifle mounted above the hearth. Jacob said nothing. He pointed to a stack of blankets near the fire and walked into the back room. The kids barely spoke. They wrapped themselves in wool, ate spoonfuls of potato stew from an iron pot he left beside them, and for the first time in weeks, they slept. In the morning, Lena expected to be thrown out, but the fire was already lit, and fresh cornbread sat cooling on a plate. Still, Jacob didn't speak. He just nodded, like he'd expected them. Days passed, the kids cleaned, chopped wood, fixed the broken porch steps. And Jacob watched, always quiet, but not cruel. He showed them how to set snares, how to track deer, even taught Maddie how to carve wooden animals. And she smiled, for the first time since the fire. Word reached town. 3 kids living with him. Someone call the county. But the sheriff hesitated. He'd known Jacob back in '84, before the tragedy, back when Jacob was a teacher, before he vanished from the world. The sheriff drove up the mountain, knocked once, and Jacob opened the door, holding Maddie in his arms. She was laughing. The sheriff didn't speak for a long time. He stood in the doorway, watching Jacob lower Maddie onto the floor, where she ran toward her siblings, giggling. The old man looked up, eyes sharp, cautious, then gave the slightest nod, an unspoken peace. "Just here to check," the sheriff muttered. "Lot of rumors in town." Jacob didn't answer, but he stepped aside. Inside, the cabin was clean, warm, alive. Books opened on the table, drawings on the wall, carved wooden toys scattered like breadcrumbs of hope. Lena looked up from slicing carrots. Jamie was patching a blanket. No fear, just life. "They okay?" the sheriff asked quietly. Jacob looked over at the children. Then, for the first time in over 30 years, he spoke. "Better than I was." The sheriff's mouth twitched. He stepped back onto the porch. "Don't give me a reason to come back with papers." Jacob's voice was firm. "You won't need them." By the next week, social services sent someone, a stiff young woman in a city car with government plates. She stepped out, took one look at the hill, and cursed. But inside the cabin, she changed. She saw Jamie learning how to build a birdhouse, Lena helping Jacob sort herbs and roots for winter medicine, Maddie drawing her first picture of a house with a heart over the chimney. The agent filled out her paperwork in stunned silence. "There's no legal basis to remove them right now," she mumbled. "But this is highly unconventional." Jacob didn't argue. He just said, convention didn't feed them. Word got out, news vans came, CNN, NPR, a viral headline: The Hermit and the Orphans, a cabin in the mountains, and the family nobody saw coming. Donations poured in, teachers offered to homeschool, a judge issued an emergency guardianship order, but that's not what shocked everyone. What shocked them was what Jacob did next. He walked into the town hall, clean-shaven, wearing a coat he hadn't used since the Reagan era. He spoke at the school board. He opened the library for the first time in 20 years. He donated the land he lived on for a new mountain education center, free year-round for foster kids. Because the system forgets the ones who don't scream loud enough, he said. And I remember what it's like to scream into silence. Turns out Jacob's wife had been a foster mum. They'd taken in kids quietly, unofficially, for years, until the system failed one and the guilt broke him. That's why he went silent. Not madness, not rage, grief. The kids, they stayed. By the time Lena was 16, she was running the learning center with Jacob. Jamie became a carpenter. Maddie never stopped drawing. And every time a child knocked on that cabin door, Jacob opened it. No questions, just warmth. They stopped calling him the Hermit, started calling him Pops. And in the spring of his final year, when the daffodils bloomed just below the ridge, someone carved a sign beside the gravel path. The house that opened when the world didn't. Thank you for watching. If you want to get more that kind of stories, press like and check out our channel.